Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, today is March 14th, 2010. I am Jerry Ciolino, and this is the Jerry Ciolino Show, and today I'll talk about a bill introduced by John McCain and Joe Lieberman in the Senate called the Enemy Belligerent Interrogation, Detention, and Prosecution Act of 2010, which will allow the government to detain indefinitely any U.S. citizen without a warrant, probable cause, and without charges. But first, in last week's broadcast, I addressed the first of 6 reasons why I am not taking the swine flu vaccine, which is, as the previous swine flu vaccination attempt in 1976 revealed, the cure was far worse than the disease. And now I will add the second, third, and fourth reasons why I am not taking the swine flu vaccine. First, starting with the second reason. The second reason why I'm not taking the swine flu vaccine is simple. It has not been properly tested. All medications, no matter how necessary a few of them might be, they can have potential side effects, which in some cases can be even worse than the disease. I mean, have you paid attention to a lot of the commercials for over-the-counter prescription medications lately? They're everywhere. You can't miss them. Almost every day, they tell you what the side effects are, and they're often worse than what they're supposed to treat. I mean, Ambien, for example, is supposed to help people with insomnia, but it has the following possible side effects: diarrhea, dizziness, drowsiness, including daytime drowsiness, drugged feeling, dry mouth, headache, nausea, nose, throat irritation, sluggishness, stomach upset, severe allergic reactions such as rashes, hives, itching, and difficulty breathing, and tightness in the chest, swelling of the hands, legs, mouth, face, lips, eyes, throat, or tongue, unusual hoarseness, abnormal thinking behavior changes, chest pain, confusion, decreased coordination, difficulty swallowing or breathing, fainting fast, or irregular heartbeat, hallucinations, memory problems, mental or mood changes, examples: aggression, agitation, anxiety, depression, severe dizziness, shortness of breath, suicidal thoughts or actions, vision changes, and bizarre sleep disorders called parasomnia, such as, I swear I'm not making this up, sleepwalking, sleep eating, sleep sex, and sleep driving, which the victim more often than not has no recollection of. Vioxx, which is supposed to relieve pain, has been linked to gastrointestinal disorders such as diarrhea, dyspepsia, heartburn, nausea, acid reflux disease, and ulcers. It's also been linked to dizziness, flu-like symptoms, chest pains, chills, hernias, weight gain, insomnia, neuropathy, sciatica, asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia, and most notably cardiovascular effects such as acute angina and heart attacks. And these drugs, which have been tested, granted, many only got through because the FDA was bought off, but still. The FDA even admits in the swine flu vaccine drug insert that it has not been tested in the populations it most recommends take the swine flu vaccine, such as the extremely young, the extremely old, and pregnant women. The third reason why I'm not taking the swine flu vaccine is that the U.S. government has granted the vaccine makers complete and total legal immunity from lawsuits or criminal charges. Again, as I've pointed out, even the most tested drugs can have deadly side effects, and just because something has been approved doesn't mean it's safe. It's no secret to anyone with 2 brain cells in their head that the FDA is a de facto rubber stamp of the pharmaceutical industry. Why did you think that the FDA made an announcement recently that they're no longer going to be recommending mammograms for certain women it used to recommend them for, even though breast cancer is killing more women now than ever before? Now, before the pharmaceutical companies that bought and paid for them know that the earlier that cancer is caught, the less expensive and time-consuming it will be to treat, meaning less profit for them. The government and the vaccine makers assure us that the vaccine is safe, yet, as they say, actions speak louder than words. Now, the fourth reason is the refusal of many of the vaccine's biggest public backers in the government, the mainstream media, and the pharmaceutical companies to take the swine flu vaccine or to refuse to give it to their children. I mean, here's Dr. Oz, for example, on the swine flu vaccine, pimping the swine flu vaccine out to school children and then saying that he won't give it to his own children.
A national campaign to vaccinate tens of millions of Americans against the H1N1 or swine flu, as you know it, kicked off today. It'll be given via nasal spray and eventually by shots. Pregnant women and children who are at higher risk are to be given the first doses. Take a look.
Hospitals in Memphis and Indianapolis among the first to get batches of the swine flu vaccine today. Their health departments are getting the shipments first, but other states are going to start receiving their shipments soon as well.
The first batch of the vaccine is going to be in a nasal spray form, and then in about a week or so, swine flu shots will be ready.
40 million flu shots doses will be available by mid-month.
A lot of people, though, still split over whether or not to get the vaccine. Some people want it, some people don't. So we have asked Dr. Mehmet Oz, of course, of the Dr. Oz Show, to help us break down some of the concerns that are out there. Welcome to you. Good to see
Thanks,
you.
Kim. Good to see you.
So doctors' offices, as you know, are being swamped with calls right now because people are hearing that the vaccine is starting to become available. What do we know about when and where the average person can actually get it?
I still think we're probably 3 weeks away from the average person being able to easily get the vaccine. And for many Americans, that's not a crazy amount of time to wait because although it has already started and we are seeing swine flu cases, it really hasn't built up the kind of volume that I know we'll see over the next few weeks. There is a website, flu.gov, which actually gives you information about your local community about where they will be giving the flu shot. But you actually have to call to see if they have what's needed yet. And this is especially important for the high-risk populations, the pregnant women, the kids under 2 years of age, people who have chronic illnesses. They're the ones, and by the way, me, healthcare providers. We have to get, in fact, New York Presbyterian, where I practice, it is mandated we all get vaccinated by the end of this month.
Now, schools are going to give the vaccines in some cases. We're hearing pediatricians' offices, especially when we're talking about kids maybe getting them. Do you know whether, like if you're a parent, you're trying to decide, do I let my kid do it at school? Do I take him to the pediatrician?
Well, the fairest way the government thought was to distribute the vaccines to the individual states and let states do what they usually do pretty well, which is administer public health. So it's very possible to be available in your school, but depending on which school system you're in, they may have preferred to have supermarkets delivered or, pharmacies, large public areas. Oftentimes hospitals will have a public facility to be able to administer vaccines. So there are many places you can go. But Campbell, I think the big story is what you mentioned earlier. I would bet half the population is watching this show right now and saying, I'm not sure I want that. And they're saying, I can always treat myself if I get infected. I won't get infected anyway. And, would it be that big of an illness if I did get it? And I think we're actually wandering into a very interesting dilemma, which is that the government and healthcare providers are saying, we advise this. It makes sense to you. But if we push too hard, we actually build up more resistance. We've got to be very fair about saying, listen, this is just like a government warning a population about an oncoming hurricane. Right? If it's a Class 4 hurricane coming towards New Orleans before Katrina, you got to tell people it might be a problem. Sometimes the hurricane misses. But if it does hit, people should at least be knowledgeable that they made their own choices.
But you say that, and to your point, we looked into this. There's a new poll out from the Harvard School of Public Health that only 40% of adults say they are absolutely certain they're going to get the vaccine. Yeah. That means most of the country is either on the fence or they're not going to do it. The reasons they're giving is they're concerned about possible side effects from the vaccine. They don't think they're at risk of serious illness, and they think that if they do get it, that they're going to be able to get Tamiflu or Relenza or one of these medicines. I mean, aren't those valid reasons to maybe skip it?
Some of them are valid reasons, but remember, part of the desire that you have in getting the population immunized is to prevent the virus from spreading to those who aren't protected, people who are more at risk, young kids, as I mentioned, pregnant women. And so you might weather the storm, but from a population's perspective, it may not be best for us. And by the way, when you get the flu, you're sick for a week. Yes, vast majority of the time you'll be fine unless you're one of those high-risk groups. And although Relenza does work well, Tamiflu is already building up resistance. I think it will be wise for us